Greetings everyone, my name is Napoleon Complex, welcome back to a Total War Saga Troy, and welcome back to Unit Analysis. Last time we answered the question of which skirmisher you would want to bring with you when harassing infantry forces, but the question has to be asked, why would you bring skirmishers when you could just bring more infantry of the same cost? So today I have brought a mixed formation of spearmen and skirmishers against a force of pure infantry, and to make my life a bit more difficult, I have made sure that some of those infantry are light swordsmen. Now I will also try fighting this force with a force of pure infantry and see how the casualties compare. But for the moment, let's see how effective the skirmishers actually are. Let's get straight into it. So ordinarily, I think most people would agree that you want to keep your skirmishers close to your main line so the main line can support them. However, in a situation where the enemy have no skirmishers and limited mobile forces, I think in this case it's best to move the skirmishers forward to harass the enemy as long as possible, try and get them to break up their formation, and then you can bring the infantry in to strike. I have organised my skirmishers into 3 teams. We have 1 team of 3 and 2 teams of 2. And any larger and they become unwieldy, any smaller and they wouldn't be able to mutually support. What I will do is spread the team of 3 out a little bit so that they have some space between them. So we'll start to advance. Try to move these units individually so they retain their spacing. And just move the team to the side here. So no messing around, we want to aim at an enemy unit, particularly the units on the side. Those light swordsmen, although quick, look like an appealing target for sling stones. And we want to come at the enemy from various angles, I think. And already the formation is showing signs of disorder. Just losing a little bit of range here, come on. Just a heads up for people who are new, I do not claim to be the best Total War player ever. I'm trying to take an investigative approach, but it's as much to learn the game myself as for information. And of course, hopefully some entertainment value. So we have caused some damage, but we're also inducing the enemy army to move out of formation. And this unit's now facing 3 skirmishers on their own. So elements of the enemy army are being induced into moving away from their allies. But most of it has stuck together. Now I think it's time that we started, well, let's take a look. Let's keep this going, see if we can induce any further movement away in the enemy formation. We need to try. Obviously situations like this are quite micromanagement intensive, and we do need to keep an eye on what is going on. Okay, we can see that the enemy army is now all over the place. It's time to advance our main line. So the enemy hero has isolated himself with a unit of spearmen, and we may be able to surround them.
The foe has sighted your hidden units.
These spearmen are coming to help, and now they're getting flanked themselves. And these spearmen have been caught between a unit of slingers and a unit of spears.
Your hero is under attack.
So that's 3 flank attacks we got out just from our skirmishers inducing chaos amongst the enemy. And now these units are getting bombarded by sling stones as well. This, however, is rather bad. We've been caught in flank, so unfortunately, in all the excitement, I got one of my own units flanked as well, and we're likely to lose this. However, both of these units have been weakened by sling stones, so it will take some time for the effects to take effect. And the light swordsmen have been able to keep the Achaean slingers running away, but they haven't managed to catch anything yet. We do have to be worried about getting driven into corners, but skirmish mode seems to have improved, and it seems to be much harder for units to catch enemies by driving them up against the edge of the map. So obviously make sure that we're using our special abilities. If I'd held out a little bit longer I could have got the shout. Okay, we can join in the fun here if they're not going to pursue us. And that forces them to keep charging around, means that they can't use their strength to do anything to attack us. We are doing all the attacking here. Unfortunately, I have to divert these troops to meet this attack here. But this unit's almost dead. And there are units in the enemy army which are starting to break apart. Excellent. So now that they've... What we can do is now use a unit of slingers to pursue and move our main troops back towards the battlefield. And yes, I know I selected the unit of slingers there, I just wanted to use one unit of slingers rather than a unit of spearmen to pursue routing foes. So these swordsmen are turning back towards the battlefield, but of course every time they try to do that we just come around with another sling attack. And every so often, because they're faster, our slingers can turn around and get a volley of stones in, so we're slowly weakening these units as well. Now we are steadily losing here, and I think we'll break soon. The enemy hero is already in Aristea. I've not been keeping track of my micromanagement here. Okay, however, we have managed to get the upper hand here. We do need some help here. I don't know why they're not changing formation, and this is very annoying. I think it's because they're in group. Don't even know why it's possible to form a group of only one person. So that was a case where I tried to move in infantry flankers, but my skirmish flankers interfered with things. I can't do anything about this, they came back. Good, we won this. Get into their backs quickly and get the slingers retargeted. And send our own slingers after them to make sure that they don't rally again. Good, we're still pursuing them, so they're not coming back. They've broken again, but our general must have taken a kicking. Well, no, it's our unit that's broken, but we've got a fresh unit of spearmen holding up these two weakened units, and they should both break first.
Warriors are rallying.
That's our unit that routed coming back to the field. We've broken another unit, so again, use our skirmishers to pursue. Probably let's try and get around the back here. Good. Now, can we use our sling stones to help out in the melee between the captains? Get right up close so you make sure you hit the right target, because our commander is in danger now. Of course, it would probably help if we activated our own special abilities. So, of course, one problem with this kind of strategy is it is attention intensive. We've managed to catch this unit in flank now. But the blighters are ignoring us. And here come the sling stones. We've chased that unit off the map, we bring it back in. This looks like trouble, actually. Yes, because that's a fresh unit attacking our pursuers. Not quite sure what's going on here.
Victory is close enough to taste.
You guys seriously need to get out of that situation. Looks like there we go. So army losses set in, and that was a fairly efficient way of mopping up an enemy army. But was it the best way we could have beaten that force? Let's try again with a full infantry army against the same setup. So I'll be back in a moment. Well, let's take a look at the statistics first. Okay, so we lost about 25% of our army there. So actually, we could probably have done better. In fact, in a previous test where I felt I didn't do very well, I actually got a better result than this. So we could probably have done better. We took a lot of casualties amongst our infantry. So let's see if our full infantry force can do any better against an equivalent force of this size. I'll be back in a moment. So if taking skirmishers costs us a quarter of our army, well, can a full infantry force do any better? I've mimicked the enemy army down to a T here, and I've taken a Roman-style 3-line approach. Let's see if we can do any better. So the reason I've taken this 3-line approach is so that as the enemy engage, you'll hopefully engage one of my units with more than one of their own. And my hope is that by throwing units gradually into the battle, I will eventually get into a position where I can get around the flank and destroy the enemy army. So I'll be back once the battle lines are close to clashing. Okay, we're getting very close to contact now. The enemy should start charging out to meet us any second now. They are being remarkably patient. Interesting they've got the light swordsman in the middle of their line. Though they do have the light swordsman over here in a flanking position. Right, again, we let them engage us first. Note how the AI noticed that that unit was already engaged and instead moved around the flank. The enemy hero's getting involved, so I need to get involved too. But now they're screwing up. They're just throwing everything into the center of the line, and now my infantry can begin to maneuver around the flanks. The question is, can they do it? Can we do it quickly enough? I think I need to keep a unit in the center as reserve, especially since those light swordsmen do seem to be doing very well against my spears. So this unit will be round the flank first, as it is the faster unit. That is to be expected. And I believe these units get a bonus for flanking. Excellent. So now we're right around the enemy back, and we should begin to bring down the enemy army very quickly now. The question is, can we get there in time to save this unit from breaking? Our centre's also under quite a bit of pressure. Motivate our troops to fight better. Hopefully we get to Aristea soon. These units are about to break. And there they go. So let them pursue and keep the enemy going, and we'll get these swordsmen round to flank something else. Something that isn't already engaged from the back. Get her reserves in here. And there we go, we just hit them with our own light swordsmen who are fresh. Okay, they're broken up for now, so they'll come back to the fight, but we can get a strike in first. That's the enemy's Aristea going. I activated one of my own abilities, even though it didn't do anything, it let me get to Aristea as well to help out. Ah, there's an opening. Let's see if we can quickly break this unit. Now the Aristea is helping the enemy stay in the field. We've almost broken this unit. There they go, they've broken. And it looks like this unit's about to go as well. Right, I am unfortunately going to have to quit this in order to go back. I think the enemy special ability is helping them stay in the fight. Good. And the enemy army is starting to break apart. In fact, it's getting to the point where I'm struggling to control everything. There are so many routes going on. We'll keep the enemy commander in a duel. Get in there then. They'll just stand there staring. And that's it. Well, not quite. I'm not quite sure what's keeping the enemy on the battlefield at this point. Probably their commander-in-chief. But army losses should be setting in very soon. Either that or the enemy... I think the balance of power might count some broken troops if they have the chance to come back to the fight. There's also still a small melee going here. You guys could at least have the decency to help.
No one's going to miss you.
So do the soldiers do much to interfere with hero duels? Because they sure don't seem to. Oh, they do. They are coming to try. They seem to be taking individual swipes at the hero.
Your warriors are losing heart.
That's not good. I'm not exactly clear on how the enemy managed to rally from this situation, but they managed it. Wait, was it part of our army that broke? Huh. Well, I'm not quite sure how that happened. Oh, the enemy have come back to the fight. Right, let's get back in control of the situation. I honestly thought after a break like that it would just be a case of escorting the enemy army off the field.
By Ares, your warriors are rallying.
I should hope so. Well, that will cost us in the end. Yeah, this doesn't seem to be as convincing a victory as the one involving the skirmishers. Even with the flank attacks, we had to do more work. You keep fighting the general. Get them in the flank first.
Victory is close enough to taste.
Well, could it hurry up and arrive then? Because we've been waiting for a while. There we go, finally. Alright, I'll be back once the results screen's done. I want to do some pursuing and see how much damage we can do to the enemy army on pursuit. No, it would be more accurate to just end the battle here, I think. Okay, well there we have it. That time we lost a third of our army. So, approached correctly, an army with more skirmishers than infantry, well, with infantry and skirmishers, can perform better than an army of just infantry. There are things, of course, that the infantry army can do to get the upper hand on the enemy army, especially an AI army. But I think the skirmish force also gives you more options, because you can try and pull the enemy out of formation. You can keep parts of it running after you. Because they're cheaper, you usually have an extra unit running around behind the enemy's ranks. Though that doesn't apply to all skirmishers. For instance, the bowmen again cost the same as a unit of spears. In fact, they actually cost slightly more than a unit of spears. So there we have it. That's the result. And it's interesting that the elite bows cost the same as the elite swords and the elite spears, which does seem to indicate that the developers at least consider a unit of bows to be just as valuable as a unit of spears or a unit of swords. So bear that in mind as you go through the campaign. Anyway, folks, I have been Napoleon Complex. Thank you for watching this video. Please consider liking and subscribing if you enjoyed the content. And I will see you next time. And please do leave a comment about what your thoughts on the video are, because I do read the comments, and I do like to hear from people who watch the videos and hear what they think of them. It's often a bit like shooting in the dark putting videos out on YouTube, and it's always good to hear what people's thoughts on them are. On that note, I will see you later. Farewell, and don't let the warbands grind you down.